All right, so hey everyone, please keep yourselves muted. We are recording this program, so after this presentation, please visit our YouTube channel, hit subscribe and smash that like button and click the bell to get all our new content because that really helps us out. So welcome to another educational and inspiring AAM workshop, this entitled Vegan Kid Activists. Vegan kids are our future. A new generation is emerging who are more compassionate, bold, and determined than ever. They will be carrying on the work of the animal liberation movement long after we're gone. So this workshop features a panel of vegan kids, including Vegan Evan, Nirvaan, and Serentity, who are also powerful activists. Prepare to be inspired as they share their vegan journey, why they fight for animals, why kids can absolutely be activists, as well as their hopes and dreams for the future. This panel of kids and moms will answer your burning questions as well. So my name is Michelle Granberg, and I'm your moderator. I'm a mentor and team member with Animal Activism Mentorship. I'm located in New Jersey, and I've been a vegan and activist for 6 years. AAM's mission is to eradicate violence and build a culture of empathy and compassion, which ultimately results in animal liberation. We strive to build a global community of activists through our free 3-month mentorship program that pairs experienced activists with aspiring activists. Through one-on-one mentoring, we intend to generate an increased number of effective activists worldwide because we all know that this movement needs more activists. Additionally, we offer free workshops that train and educate our mentors, mentees, and the public on various aspects of AR activism. We have a podcast called the Animal Liberation Hour, and we host large-scale in-person activism events. I'll tell you more about those later. AAM is proud to be fueled by FARM, the Farm to Animal Rights Movement, one of the oldest AR organizations in the country. If you're interested in applying to become a mentor or mentee or want to get involved or to donate, please visit our website, animalactivismmentorship.com, and follow both AAM and FARM on social media. Okay, so that being said, it's really my pleasure to introduce our panelists. One by one, they're going to present and talk a bit about themselves and their journey. We're gonna be asking them some fun questions tonight, get to know them, really learn about their journey, and just reminding everyone that these folks have chosen to be activists, which means that there's someone who stands up and fights for justice and what's humane and what's fair. Right, so that's our arc tonight. So first, we're going to go to Serentity. Serentity, if you're ready, let me introduce. Serentity is a 10-year-old vegan activist from Florida. She won runner-up in the 2022 PETA Kids All-Star for Animals Award. She advocates for horse carriage bans, protests at SeaWorld, and many other protests. She encourages her friends to try vegan, and she takes care of her 5 companion cats. So she's going to tell us more. Go ahead, Serentity. You can unmute. Go ahead.
Hello, I'm Serenity McAllister. I've been vegan for about 6.5 years. So the reason why I'm vegan is because I really care for the animals, and it hurts me really badly when these animals are tortured for no such reason. And when I see people on the side of the road making smart remarks, it hurts me very bad. So I decided to keep protesting even more. When I protest, it makes me feel a bit better that some people are actually listening to what we are saying, take some time to think about animals and think, why do we still eat animals? Also because the animals don't have a voice or say in this world, so I'd like to be a voice for these animals. Thank you for listening.
Hey, thank you very much, Serentity. That was great. So next I'm going to go to Nirvaan. He's going to say a few words about himself and his vegan journey, etc. Nirvaan, go ahead and unmute.
Hi, I'm Nirvaan, and I've been vegan for my whole life. I'm not vegan just because my mom told me to. I'm vegan because it's the right thing to do. All animals should be treated well, whether it's a dog, a cat, a pig, a cow, whatever animal it is, it should be treated exactly the same. You should also be an activist because being an activist isn't just being like a vegan. If you're a vegan, you just stop eating animals that's like just one person. But being an activist, you can help other people go vegan and make more people vegan, making a bigger impact on the impact on the planet.
So good, so good. We are so inspired already. So next is, hold on, I forgot to introduce Nirvaan. So let me go back and introduce him, and then we'll go on to Evan. Okay, so Nirvaan is an 11-year-old vegan activist from New Jersey. He's the winner of the PETA Kids All-Star for Animals Award. Nirvaan speaks up for animals, as he said, in the fur industry, zoos, animal ag. He volunteers regularly at farm animal sanctuaries and much more. So our next also speaker is Vegan Evan. Vegan Evan is a well-known 12-year-old activist who has been advocating for animals from a very young age. Along with his mom, Vegan Shannon, he has been regularly participating in protests, disruptions, vigils, cubes of truth, and more. He does videos speaking up for the animals and encouraging people of all ages to go vegan. He volunteers with animals so he can show people who animals really are. All right, now, all right, go ahead, Evan. I know you want to share your screen, or?
Yeah. So hello, everyone. I'm Vegan Evan, as I'm sure you just heard. I have a little presentation. So here we go. Whoa. Yeah, X. All right, here we go. Is this in the way?
Nope, I think we're good.
All right. So being a vegan and being an activist, A Kid's Perspective by Vegan Evan. So I'm the world's youngest certified vegan lifestyle coach and educator, and I'm a vegan animal rights and liberation activist. So that's who I am. Many people ask me, why vegan? Like, why are you vegan? Why do you want to do animal rights? And the answer is simple. I'm a solutionary, which means I try my best to be part of the solution and not the problem. You might ask, what is the problem? Animals are being unnecessarily used, abused, and killed by humans. Animal agriculture is also causing mass devastation to the planet and depleting its resources that both human and non-human animals all depend on. What's my vision, and what's the vision of so many of my fellow activists? Animal liberation. We believe that all sentient beings deserve to be happy, safe, and free from human exploitation and harm. We want everyone to be respected and afforded basic rights and to have those rights upheld. And we want a healthy, habitable planet to live on, a planet with biodiversity full of wild animals who can live their lives too. How do we reach our vision? We got to do something about it and act. We need to go vegan and get active for the animals, educate, inspire, get creative, and create change. Now, there's so many ways to help animals. You could volunteer in an animal sanctuary. You can learn how to help with rescued animals. You can meet the residents at sanctuaries and help share their stories. And hold on, give us 2 seconds.
Yeah, and that was in California at a micro sanctuary. There we go.
All right.
Oops, sorry.
You can also march for the animals. You can even march for the animals and the planet at the same time. So in this photo, we're in Scotland and we have a farm banner there and we're doing a march. This was around the time of COP26. So that was a really, really cool experience to be part of and got to eat so much good vegan food over there too. There's so much in the UK. It's amazing. And we can make a homemade sign, take photos, share, and so many other ways just to help animals. This was me a long time ago. And on the left, we were talking about Stop the Bear Hunt in Florida. And that year it was stopped. So you really can make a difference. So activism for kids, there's so many different ways. One of those is speak outs. In the photos, there are a whole bunch of me and my fellow activists holding megaphones where we're doing speak outs, just basically telling people why we're vegan, why we think that they should be vegan, or at least look into it and see what it can do for everything, for the planet, for the animals, and for your own health.
And right there, it looks like your friend Nico speaking out. He might even be
That's-
listening right
Ooh.
now.
That's cool. Well, hi, Nico, if you're there. And if you're scared, just let the sign do the talking. My sister is on the right, and she can't talk yet, but she can get dressed up and have a cool sign next to her and take some photos to help the animals. On the left, that's me and my friend Ethan, and we are outside of a Pizza Hut because we have started a campaign to get Pizza Hut to do vegan cheese. So many different ways. You can go to the places of the violence where these animals are held or murdered or exploited or whatever the case may be. And there's Nico on the left again. And there's us in front of SeaWorld on the right. And then
Where were you guys there?
we were at a chicken farm, I believe, right?
Yeah, in
In
California.
California.
Big one.
Big one. Then you can wear vegan and animal rights messaging as often as possible and try to speak if there's a local veg fest near you or an event to educate and inspire others if you have the chance. So there's all sorts of different types of activism for kids in all ages. Even my grandma's helped us with a lot of these. So you can do disruptions, help cook and share delicious plant-based foods. You can do cooking demos or video classes. We've done a lot with Jane Unchained or
You
what's
and
it called?
Veggie have
Unchained
done a
TV.
lot
We've
of
done a
cooking
lot.
demos.
We can draw or write letters to help animals. So for example, the Lolita one, we could send letters that we write to the CEO or whatever of the company that keeps her captive. We can speak at public meetings and also Veg Fest. We can protest, rescue animals, make videos, write songs, books. You can do a social media like YouTube or Instagram or Facebook and just get your friends involved. So it's really cool. There's so many different ways and everyone's reaching in a different way. So everyone should be doing as many different ways as they can.
Great presentation. Evan, that was awesome. Yeah, applause for Evan. Thank you for putting that together and really helping us to understand your journey and to explore the so many different types of activism. So really fantastic. So I'm going to ask a few more questions of our wonderful panelists, and then we'll see if others have some questions as well. So for Serenity, I don't know if you remember like one of your first earliest activism events that you went to with your mom, and what was it like for you, like the very first time you did activism? Do you remember?
I don't remember, but I feel like it was really awkward and very hard to do. And I think I was mostly shy. And then I think after a few times I got more used to it. I feel like I was definitely shy.
It was
But
SeaWorld. It was SeaWorld. And she was very shy. And then she saw someone else with a megaphone talking. And she's like, "Can I borrow your megaphone? I have some things I need to say." And then sure enough, she got on there and was talking up a storm without any help. Right? You remember that?
Yeah, I don't remember her name. What was it?
I forget. I think her name is Lindsay.
Yeah.
She inspired
So-
you to talk.
Yeah. That day, I think that was the best day I've talked my best at SeaWorld. Because I was like really on it. People were actually listening. Like they would stop. I think I got 2 people to turn around at SeaWorld. I mean, that's a good accomplishment because usually no one turns around. It's better than none. But it was awkward at first, yes, very shy. I wasn't really talking that much. I hid my face with the sign and then I got used to it. And then I saw Lindsay speaking and at first I was like, whoa, she's really brave. And afterwards I kept asking her if I would do it, but then I kept getting awkward and had that like block saying, no, I can't do it. So then I had her walk over and ask, and I was like backing up, hiding behind the pole because I was scared. And eventually I just started talking, got used to it, and I'm like, because I had a lot to say, but I was too shy to say it. And then now I can just talk about stuff without like having that mental block, thinking like people are judging me. I shouldn't really care if people are judging me, but I was very shy, but now I'm used to it. So
Do you feel like doing activism helped you to get less shy?
yes.
And is that because it was what you had to say was so important? Can you give us a couple of the things you said at the SeaWorld? What do you think that you might have said about SeaWorld and what goes on in there?
I think I said some stuff like they are like trapped in there all the time and they're like never free. They most kids think that they let them out, but they don't. So I said that. And I think I just said some chants that are like on signs. I don't really remember that much.
She spoke from her heart a lot, and that was the best. I
Yeah.
think that was the best thing that you said.
Serenity, what's the most recent activism that you've done? You could probably remember what you did recently.
I don't remember what it was called, but it was with Evan.
You did the
And-
plant-based treaty march, right?
Yes.
St. Pete.
Yeah. I gave out all the pamphlets. We were running around. Evan was talking for like about a good 5 minutes to somebody, which was good. That was good. And at some point I was like, he's still talking? Wow. Because they were actually listening. They're actually listening. I expected them not to. Because most people wouldn't really like pay attention to a child, but they were really paying attention. So good job to you, Evan. But it was fun. I feel like a lot of people actually listened. The teenagers who you think would not listen actually read it, took their time to like look at it, walked away, talked to their friends about it, and it was nice. I think what was it? This person who was singing, right? I think they were vegan.
Someone was singing? I don't know.
Yeah, I think they were.
She's right. He was, and he had a really beautiful song. His mother came over and told us
Yeah,
that he was vegan, and she told us to listen for a song. It might have been called Compassion.
I think
I
so.
remember now, okay.
Yes.
But
Towards
he
the end of the night, right?
Yeah.
and he was doing some chants, but like in a kind of nice singing voice
Yeah.
that he
It-
heard us do.
Well, Serenity, I can definitely understand why people do listen to you because you have a nice speaking voice and you just really speak very well. And like your mom just said, I can tell that you absolutely speak from the heart. So I know that you inspire people in so many ways and that you'll continue to do that. So I'm gonna go over to Nirvaan and come back to everybody. So Nirvaan, like what would you, if there was another vegan kid who wanted to get involved in activism, what would you tell him or her to help them ease into it and to encourage them?
What I would tell them is that being an activist not only helps the planet and like the animals, but it also helps literally anything that's going on. Like it helps climate change, like because if more people turn vegan and there's less tree being cut down or burned down, it really like associates with everything. And also if because that person's a kid, if a kid says something that's like really like wise or like important, or like if some kid says that something about veganism, they're gonna believe that more than an adult because adults have a higher capability of making stuff up. But if a kid does it, then they're probably gonna have a less they're gonna have a lower doubt that he or she is making it up. Probably trust that kid's word and probably try going vegan.
Yeah, I think that their motives are, kids, most of the time their motives are more pure, more direct, more honest, and they don't really have a hidden agenda, the way adults might. So it gets people to really listen. And again, you have an amazing way of communicating and expressing yourself. So Nirvaan, how about, do you have any, kids your own age? I know that you do, because we do a lot of activism together, but do you have other vegan kid activists? And how important is it to have other friends that you can talk to about this who also do activism and who are vegan? What do you think?
If you talk to like a random person about activism, like if you say, oh, you should for activism we should talk like this, if you just talk to a random person who's non-vegan, then they're not going to understand that. But if you talk to like a vegan friend who can understand like the abuse that animals go through, you can talk to them and see how you can like stop people from eating them and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I love that. You can be like a team, right? You
Yeah.
can talk about how you can pair up together and join in small groups, which is what activism really is, these grassroots groups. And you do amazing items. So here's a question about the animals. I would love to hear a little bit from each of you. I know you all love animals of all species. So I can't ask you who's your favorite animal or what's your favorite species because we love them all. But maybe you have a little bit of an animal in mind, an animal friend in mind right now whom you've met, who you just think about all the time and you love them. Maybe you visit them. What do you want people to know about that animal friend? Are they a turkey? Are they a cow? Are they a pig? And why do you find them so special? So I'm going to go, Evan, can you answer that question first?
So we have so many vegan animal friends, and there was Emmett was one of our friends, and he got adopted, and he's in a nice home now. There's Admiral Fluffy Boots and Santiago, and I believe they sadly passed away. They were roosters, but you could tell that they had families, they had friends, they had feelings. But I think a big one for me was me and my mom and my grandma and my grandpa. We fostered a pig named LP, Little Piggy, for I believe 7 or 8 months. And it was just like incredible. He was like addicted to peanuts though. It was funny. He loved peanuts so much.
He did shakedowns for peanuts.
He was funny. But you can tell that just the same way if you put your hand over fire, you'll try pulling it away, right? Because the heat. If you put any animal's hand over a fire or hoof or whatever it may be, or paw, they'll try to pull away. That means that they can obviously feel pain. They don't like it, right? They can think, and it's just so obvious. And if people can't see that, I don't know what to tell them. It's like plain sight.
It is very obvious. Yes, we didn't have to do any tests like that to be able to tell. But yeah, they.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just saying an example.
Yeah, thank
I'm
you
not
for
putting
reminding us that animals feel both ends of the spectrum. They feel pain and suffer and fear. And on the other end of the spectrum, they are affectionate and they love and they bond and they want to be with their friends and family. Hey, so Serenity, how about you? Do you have a favorite or a really good animal friend that you'd like to share a bit about and why?
Well, the type of animal, I would say definitely cats. I love my cats a lot. Sweet Pea and Tiger, which are my 2 oldest cats, we've had them for 6 years. Sweet Pea is like my animal companion. Whenever I'm upset, he'll come up to me, start rubbing up on me. He knows that I'm sad, which obviously, but like still it's very nice. All the other cats, they pay attention to me, but not as much as him. He's that one cat that will always be nice to you, no matter what. And I would say, one of our newest cats, Mittens, is also one of the friendly ones. Second, you start petting her behind your ear, she's cuddling up all over you. It's very cute. I would definitely say I'm a big cat person, and I would never get rid of my cats no matter what.
Just like her mom.
Another one, I would say Binks. He does this really cute thing where he puts his paws around your wrist and then starts like licking your hand. It's so cute. It's like this little human is holding you and kissing you. It's so cute. And I do have a favorite, but I'm not gonna say because I feel like they're listening. I'm not gonna say.
All 5 of them are at the door listening.
I know.
And you don't want them to hear you're playing favorites. Have something to say about that. Well, thank you for sharing that, Serenity, and I can tell you're a wonderful cat mom, and thank you for rescuing all those wonderful cats. So how about you, Nirvaan? Has there been an animal friend you've met at the sanctuaries that stands out in your mind today?
There is one, and it's from a one that I volunteer at regularly. He's a ram named Huxley. And the sanctuary rescued him from a zoo called Johnson Park Zoo. And he was called a depressed ram. And he used to sit by the fence all day, and people would sometimes think he was dead or like not alive. And then when the sanctuary rescued him, he was smiling, and now he's so happy. And he always has like a common smiling face that every visitor sees.
Absolutely. I love this. He's my friend as well, and I love to see his smiling face and to know that he is now safe and well and loved where he is at. That's at Uncle Neil's in Bridgeton, New Jersey, that we go there. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that about your animal friends, you guys. So maybe a couple more questions, then we're going to open it up. I know that we have a hand up. Eliana has her hand up, so hold on one moment. We'll get to those questions. But let's see. Let's just talk a little bit about being vegan. So was going vegan hard? And what's your favorite vegan food or restaurant? And what's the one tip you give people who are ready to go vegan? Evan, can you answer that question first?
All right, so going vegan is not hard at all. Realistically, there's so many different things you can eat as a vegan. And if you're talking about like if you make meats or whatever, there's all sorts of different ways to make it. And there's all sorts of different plants and fruits that is already on the earth for us. Like people say, well, there's nothing vegan. I can't find anything. But then you go to like any supermarket and you can find like always tofu and vegan meats and stuff. But where can't you find beans and rice realistically? I don't think there's really anywhere. So there's always something to eat as a vegan. It's not as hard as people think. And my tip would be when you're trying vegan, just think about all the animals' lives that you're saving, or about the planet, then you're helping the planet, or think about your own health and the people around you. And I feel like a lot of people have trouble going vegan at first because they don't want to feel guilty about the animals, because thinking about going vegan makes them think about the animals that they do currently eat. So then I feel like a lot of people, if they start for the environment or stuff, if they're plant-based, then it's easier to accept the fact about the animals too, and that they used to hurt the animals.
What's your, I have to remind him because it always makes me feel good. What's your favorite food, vegan Evan?
Cashew cheese quesadillas. We make them ourselves. We get the cashews and we soak them at least overnight, but I usually soak them like 3 or 4 times. Get all the impurities out and it softens them up. And then you blend them up and you put them with water and do we use lemon juice? I don't even know.
That goes in the sour
We
cream.
do salt and
White pepper,
white pepper,
tapioca flour.
tapioca
We'll give you the
flour.
whole recipe, but not the measurement. We'll give you the measurements too if you want them. But
If
yeah,
you really want them. We're not the best with measurements.
it's been Evan's favorite dish now for like 6 or 7 years, basically since we went
Have you
vegan.
ever had them? I feel like you've had them before.
Yeah, she's had them at
You-
the in-person events. Maybe.
Maybe.
Have you-
I don't know if I have.
Oh,
She
Next
probably
time.
has it. If she can't remember it, then she has it.
they're famous.
Thank you. I'm so glad. So Serenity, I think do you like to cook vegan food? And if so, what's your favorite thing to cook and serve or eat?
So I cook a lot, definitely a lot. My favorite place to go to is Winter Park Biscuit Company, where almost all their stuff has like biscuits on it. And well, like no animals get hurt there, especially chickens. And my favorite food is definitely chicken sandwiches. They're so good. A recent thing that I made recently, I can't speak. A recent thing that I made was mozzarella sticks. Basically, you just grab, what was it called? The cheese.
We got Myokos.
Yeah, you just
mozzarella
put it
cheese.
into like thin slices, and you just like dip it in the egg mixture, which is like almond milk.
We use flax seeds, I think,
Flax
instead of
seeds.
eggs, right?
Yeah, and then something else, and you dip it in the flour, that, boil it, and it literally comes so good. I loved it. It was
She
amazing.
cooked it all by herself while I was working and made mozzarella sticks for all of us.
And then the one time for her
Okay.
birthday, I made, what are they called? Lava cakes?
Lava cake?
Yeah, the chocolate lava cake.
Yeah.
While she was working, I made a chocolate lava cake by myself. It was kind of hard getting it out of the oven though. I thought I was gonna burn myself, but it's okay. Yeah,
She's done lots of experiments with food. And they usually
Yeah.
always taste very good.
Yeah. I think the one time what I did was instead, because we didn't have bread, all we had was bagels. So I know it might seem gross, but it's actually really good. Don't judge me. I I did put hot dogs and sausages on a sandwich. Okay, it sounds gross, but trust me, it is good. She loved it.
I
My
remember
brother
this.
loved it. My dad loved it. And then you put bagel as the bread. It was really good. Please don't judge me.
You put other things on there too, I forget.
Oh,
but
there
it's
was the
good.
dressing.
Tomato, did you put tomato on?
No.
That sounds all very, very creative, and whatever floats your boat, right? Absolutely. We come up with our own little recipes. Thank you, Serenity. Nirvaan, how about you? I know you like to cook, Nirvaan. What's your favorite vegan food to cook and eat, or what restaurant do you love?
I cook a lot, and I don't have a favorite food that I've cooked, but I do cook a lot of things. Like I also bake. Like I've baked cookies. I've cooked like mini pizzas and like with dough and garlic nuts, and I cooked a lot of stuff. And yeah, I don't have a favorite.
And churros.
Oh, yeah, churros.
He made churros from scratch.
Wow, wow.
And Mother's Day and any holiday they comes up with something nice for me, and it's always good to see. Loves cooking so much that right next to us is this vegan cookbook that he loves to read. Look how well loved it is.
Well, that's awesome. Nirvaan, do you think you want to be a vegan chef?
Yes.
I think so. I think you absolutely should be. I love it. Nice, nice. Very, very nice, everybody. Okay, so we're going to open up for questions now. So I think we have a question from Eliana. And if we do, go ahead and unmute yourself, Eliana, and ask your question of our panel.
Hi you guys, I'm Eliana. I've been vegan for a year. My question is it hard to do outreach?
She does AV with Anonymous, or we do Cubes of Truth with Anonymous for the Voiceless, and she'll stand in the cube, but she has a hard time with the outreach part and speaking, and so that's something that we're going to be working on a little bit more.
That is such a great question from a kid's perspective. What's the approach for outreach? So I'm going to let maybe everybody can comment a bit. Go ahead, Evan.
All right, so I wanted to say, Cubes of Truth, when we were doing like first starting, we would do a lot in the inside the cube, not outreaching. I think that's really good because you can hear the conversations that the people have and you can learn a lot that way. And I just feel like doing that and letting us know more helped a lot.
And then you got to get out and do it,
You got to
right?
get out and do it.
Do you have any tips for doing the outreach?
Any tips for doing the outreach? Well, what I usually do is I know you usually say like, have you ever seen this before? How does it make you feel? And then what I usually say is like, what do you care about the most? Your own health or the planet or the animals? And then I comment, I say stuff about that or whatever they say. I just add on to that.
Yeah, I think Evan has had a lot of extremely long conversations with people that have actually talked to other activists in the cube, that the other activists would get frustrated and just go away. But Evan would have patience and stay with them for a while. And it seemed like people would really, really listen. But I think a big part of it was him learning. And when, like he said, when you stand in the cube, you get to hear a lot. And we also did a lot of research on our own together. We went to places like, that hurt animals. He saw things for himself. So he was able to tell people about those experiences. Also visiting the sanctuaries, meeting the rescued animals and being able to speak on behalf of them and his experiences with them. And just, I think, practice, and you get better and better at it, Eliana. And it's so awesome that you are participating in those TV demos. We really learned a lot doing that and got a lot of good practice in.
Eliana, do you have another question, or Lisa? About something else or about outreach? You have to unmute.
That's really helpful. She does spend a lot of time at our local sanctuary with the animals, and she sees what they go through as well. We tell her that if she looks at that footage, she can't unsee those things, but that's up to her. But I do see her looking at it and stuff like that. But it is very helpful because I think adults listening to children speak has a very huge impact, rather than, just hearing it from an adult. So hearing it from a child's perspective is really big. So that's something we need to get her out there, and that's what we said. You just got to get out there and do it. So thank you. It's very helpful.
Awesome. Does anybody else have a question for any of our panelists or the moms? Go ahead and do the hand raise icon or put it in the chat if you'd like to do that. So I know, Nirvaan, for you, one of the things that makes you particularly sad and fight is the dairy industry. I know we've spoken about that before. Do you want to, Nirvaan, what is it about the dairy industry that you tell people makes you especially sad or makes you especially upset?
Because in the dairy industry, like in meat industry, they just kill the animal after it's big enough. But when in the dairy industry, they use the animal, and then after the animal is all spent up and not used and can't be used anymore, they just send them to a slaughterhouse and then send them for meat. So it's worse than like if it was beef, because they're adding another step into it, torturing the animal until they're all out of milk, and then sending them to slaughterhouses.
And also babies.
Oh yeah, and also they take away the babies to like if they're males, they'll send them to a veal farm immediately. And if they're females, they'll be taken to another part of the dairy farm, or even like another dairy farm altogether to grow them up, and then they'll be sent back here when they're old enough to produce milk, and then the whole thing will start over again.
Pretty sad for them. More than that, it's beyond words. So thank you for fighting for that, Nirvaan, and for speaking up, and just the fact that you understand that so well and articulate it so well is just amazing. So Serentity, I don't know if you can answer this question, but is there anybody besides your mom who has inspired you on your vegan journey? Is there anyone else that you admire, another activist, or anybody you follow on social media that you really think that they're pretty terrific as well and try to be like them?
I don't know. I think on the Georgia, what was it?
The AAM, Georgia tour?
Yeah, I don't know if you know her, but Jenna, she was very good at speaking out, and she wanted to make me keep talking. And I kept getting awkward. Still to this day, I still get awkward. And she made me want to speak even more because I could see how passionate she was about it. Her voice seemed very passionate. And I think she was the only one besides my mom who I think really inspired me. Honestly, not even joking. She was very good at it. She's very fun, but then when it comes to activism, she's very serious. Her whole mood changes from happy to very passionate and angry. And I'm like, whoa, how did that just happen? Because her whole attitude changes. I'm like, wow, okay.
And that's how you get too, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that, we're going to tell Jenna, I hope you don't mind, we'll tell her you said that because she will love to hear that. And you're so right about that and so observant, so I'm really glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
So if anybody else has any questions, feel free to raise your hand, put them in the chat. But I'm going to ask some questions of the vegan moms that are here. Let's spotlight these amazing vegan moms for raising such amazing vegan kids that they would not be without, perhaps. So I don't know. So Shannon, I know you and Evan have been doing this for so long. You've been all over globe trekking, doing activism. What's that like for you to travel with your son, to be doing activism together as a family, and maybe you could share a story. I know sometimes you get some not good response to your going out in the world and being so vocal. So anything you'd like to share around your experiences?
Well,
and introduce yourself. Tell us a bit about yourself too.
okay, so I'm Shannon. I am also known as Vegan Evan's mom. Now I am also mom to Sage Justice. So my name might have to somewhat change, but very proud to be Vegan Evan's mom. I went vegetarian when I was 9, when my cousin showed me a video of what was happening in the meat industry. And I didn't find out about the atrocities taking place in the dairy and egg industries until almost 2 decades later. And when I found out about the dairy industry, I also watched Cowspiracy and ended up vegan very quickly. Evan
I'm
did the
vegan
same
too.
day, and I've actually been doing activism though since the 90s, but it like died down and slowed down when I moved to Florida when I was like 17. I was always vocal, but I wasn't doing the boots on the ground in the same ways that I was sometimes when I was younger. So when I went vegan and I found out, about the dairy and eggs, and like Nirvaan just explained, the dairy industry is even worse than the meat industry because of the prolonged suffering and abuse that goes on. And so I had the background. Farm had been sending me materials since I was a kid, PETA also, and I knew how to kind of get involved. So we got right to it. Evan was making some videos and stuff, and really doing this as a team has probably been part of what has kept me able to continue on without getting like so severely depressed, because like this is hard stuff. I'm sure everybody who's here knows when you take those blinders off and you acknowledge what's really happening to trillions of sentient individuals every single year at the hand of our species, that's like hard to deal with, because when we walk around every day, 99+% of the people most of the time are participating in it willingly and with no like qualms about it. So it's tough. And Evan has really inspired me. He's been the reason that I've probably educated myself so much on it, because he's prompted us to do so much research. And just, I tried to talk him out of going vegan when I told him I was going to do it, and he said he wanted to too. I was like, just wait, let me try it first. And right from the beginning, he was like, no, animals are getting hurt. I don't need it. I don't want it. And he really has been my inspiration. So we've gotten some flack. It's funny to me because I used to get accused so often of making him go vegan, forcing him to do activism. And like everywhere we go, he's like, yeah, I'm vegan. Like he's always like, it's all he wants to talk about. It's it's
Not that voice.
all right. But he just like, you'll ask him, how are you doing? He's like, I'm vegan. He loves being vegan because he knows that he's making the world a better place. He's not embarrassed of it or shy about it because he knows that it's the right thing. And if people, don't see that what we're doing is a good thing, and they have concerns, it's because they just don't understand what's happening. And if they did, they would see the urgency, and they'd probably wish that we were able to do more and that they would do something themselves too. So it is what it is. When people talk, we just have to ignore it and keep going. But yeah, we I think doing something about it really helps us both. And we appreciate the opportunity to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon, for sharing that. So Trina, how about you? Like what are your tips for supporting your child when they want to do activism and they want to go vegan? And what's it like for you to do activism with your daughter?
So I've been vegan for 6 years. I initially, just to be completely honest, started going vegan for health reasons, because we had a lot of health issues in my family. My grandpa had Alzheimer's, my grandmom had cancer. So all these things just really hit me at once when I lost them. So I said, you know what, I want to learn everything I can about being healthy. What can I do to avoid, my kids one day seeing me have this pill bottle, having to remember to take all these pills, all this medication, seeing my grandpa forget us over time. That was really hard. So when that happened, I just like dove into every type of nutrition book, video that I could find. And thankfully I had a friend that, was like, you know what, you're so passionate about all this, why don't you go vegetarian? So I'm like, okay. And I started down that road. Then I started watching documentaries, and that's when I made the connection, and I realized, vegan is the way to go, because vegetarian, we're still hurting animals, especially with the dairy industry. And with doing cubes, a lot of people don't know that. I've even had people participate in cubes that were vegetarian, and they didn't even realize how bad the dairy industry is. So with Serentity, I think how she gets nervous, she gets shy sometimes. I'm the same way. I'm a very shy person from the heart. But I think when it comes to speaking about animals and, the atrocities and how horrible it is, she can see my passion for it and how much it upsets me. And when I went vegan, I told her right away, I said, I don't expect any of you to go vegan. I'm not forcing any of you, but I'm going to cook all this delicious food and you're going to try it and you're going to see if you like it. And she loved it right away. I think the first thing I made was tofu nuggets. And she's like, I don't ever want chicken again. I don't want to hurt an animal. I don't want anything that's not vegan. So when I went vegan, I was actually pregnant with my son, who is 5. And I found out I was pregnant after I decided to go vegan. It was like a month in. And I'm like, you know what, now that I'm pregnant, I might as well stick to it, because now I have to really force myself to be healthier with this, to make sure my baby has all the proper nutrients, that we're both being healthy. And kind of similar to Evan, my son is very vocal at times. And again, he's only 5, he just turned 5. But when we go to SeaWorld specifically, he gets on the megaphone and he's like, Mom, tell me what to say. I need to know what to say. And so I'll tell him things and then he'll repeat it. And then all of a sudden he'll just kind of go off and say all these different things. So you just kind of imagine like a little 5-year-old, just like how, Evan was tiny at one point. And just like others said, people hear kids talking and sometimes they get more inspired and intrigued to learn about why these little kids are so passionate about it. And yeah, I think it's very important, especially as parents, that if we know what's wrong, we're here for our kids. I don't think anyone is forcing our kids to do this. They want to do it on their own, because they see how bad it is. So it's nice to have my little one, or little ones, I should say, doing it with me, because it makes me feel even more passionate seeing them do it.
Beautiful. Thank you, Trina, so much for sharing that. So Neetu, will you share a bit, introduce yourself and who you are and a little bit about your journey, and then tell us, I don't know, what tips do you have for families and what experiences have you had with Nirvaan? And what's it like for because the two of you are always together in a wonderful way. Every time we go out for activism, it's the two of you. What's that like for you?
It's extremely beautiful. So I'm one of the very lucky people who never ate an animal before. I mean, I never ate an animal. I never eat an animal ever, but I never ate an animal in my life. So I was born into a vegetarian home. Of course, ate a lot of eggs growing up because Mom told me eggs are vegetarian. We ate a lot of dairy because I was told that dairy is good for your health. So growing up, till I was in about 10th grade, I consumed eggs heavily, only to realize, I just got this realization one day, how can they be vegetarian? They don't grow on trees. I mean, by the definition of just the word vegetarian, it makes no sense. And the whole idea of a baby coming out of the egg and all of that, struck me. So in 10th grade, I gave up eggs and I made my whole family give up eggs. But dairy was still, it didn't strike me because I thought cows give milk and it's okay to take some of the milk as long as the baby gets it. And the whole concept of us stealing their milk and stealing their babies did not strike me till I actually watched there was a show that used to come on television. I was back in India at the time. There wasn't much talk about activism. There wasn't talk about anything that has to do with veganism. I mean, that word was foreign. I'm talking about 1990s, like early 1990s. No one knew about the word vegan, but there was a show in which they showed how the cows are being abused, how they were injected with certain things which made them produce double the amount of milk, but also gave them something like labor pain. You know, they showed them suffering and the babies being taken away. That was barely 10 minutes of abuse that I saw on television, and I made a decision. This is it. I can't consume dairy anymore. I was at that time, I was the only vegan I knew for miles and miles. I didn't know any other vegan back in the day. And people thought I was crazy because when I did go vegan, I was all gung-ho about it. I thought I discovered something amazing and I wanted everybody to know about it. So I went around telling people, hey, listen, cows are being abused, you know, even if you're vegetarian, you should stop doing this and that. And people thought I was crazy, including my family. So I got a lot of backlash. My mother was not, nobody was cooperating with me. And I was just about to go to law school. So, you know, the expectation was you have to study hard, you have to put in so many hours, and on a vegan diet, you just cannot do that you will fail and then you'll regret and you won't get all of these years back, you know? And that was the pressure that I was under. And I just not, this realization is so strong that I don't want, even if I fail my exams, even if they're all right and I'm wrong, I'm willing to take the chance. And surprisingly, surprising to others more than me, I was able to focus more and I was getting better grades. I was more energetic on a vegan diet than I was on a non-vegan diet. You know, I thought I was more lethargic with a dairy heavy diet. So I was getting good grades. It was all working out. Back then, there were no substitutes, not in India for sure. There were no soy milks and there were no cheeses and there was nothing. I'm talking about 25 years ago. You know, there was nothing to replace the stuff that I was giving up. So in the beginning, it did seem a little hard because I couldn't go to the supermarket and say, okay, I'm giving up the cheese, but I'm going to pick up Daya or something else, you know? So a little bit hard, but if there's a conviction, you know, if you're really passionate about this, if you really feel so strongly that you should not be the reason that an animal should suffer, that just makes it easy. That whole thought, I mean, I'm telling it for people who are not vegan and who are listening in, who are here trying to make the transition. If you keep the victim in mind, if you think that you are the person causing harm to another, and it is so much in your hand to stop it, then you will. That will not be hard because you will then think about how your actions are hurting another being. And that was something that kept me going in spite of me being the only one I knew who was vegan. Now I feel so blessed. I feel so blessed that I have a whole phone book of people who are vegan. I have people I can call and talk to, and sometimes it can get really frustrating because all this abuse is going on around you and people are so oblivious. I just came back from a vegan Thanksgiving at this beautiful sanctuary. And I come back to work and the co-workers are talking about eating turkey and, you know, all of that stuff. And then one person who I had very joyously told that I was going to have a vegan Thanksgiving took a chance to almost tease me. He was smirking and saying, "Oh, so did you have your vegan Thanksgiving?" You know, I said, "Of course I did," and I had great fun, and I don't think I missed on anything at all. He just laughed, as if it's something that, you know, It's a joke. It's really not a joke. Like by every minute that you're not vegan, you are the reason an animal is dying. And not only dying, if it was just death, it would be bad, but it wouldn't be as bad as what goes on behind those doors of the slaughterhouse. So much abuse in all sorts of ways. Mothers being separated from their babies, small babies being killed, who are so innocent, they don't even know what's happening to them. The egg industry kills newborn chicks who haven't even seen what the world is all about. It's just, there's so much abuse happening all around us. And I don't know, unfortunately, people are so oblivious to it. And that's the whole purpose of doing activism. Nirvaan, I keep telling him all the time, he did his first activism with him being in my stomach. So the day I found out that I was pregnant with him, I was at the PETA circus protest. And I was 3 months pregnant, and I was telling to the baby, I was like, "Oh, this is your first activism. I know when you grow, when you grow old, you'll be an activist." And he was an activist. I think he used to come with me in a baby stroller, that little chair thing. I used to take him with me, and so that's all he's seen. But he believes very strongly that he's not vegan because of me. He's vegan because he really loves animals. There was no force, like both the mothers have said, right? We didn't force our kids. It was a choice that they have made, because there's something that everybody has to remember, that kids are born with compassion. They come with inbuilt compassion, which is why we give them those stuffed animals and those toys which look like animals, right? Because the compassion is so strong in them. We just use the social conditioning. We just try to tell them, this is food, this is a pet, and this is something that looks cute and whatnot. We make the distinction for them. We put layers of those distinction, of those what do you call them, the layers, almost like blindfold on them, to say that this is not an animal, this is just food. And that's how they grow up to be. And I feel blessed that mothers like me and other people are now not taking that away from the kids, and they're still retaining it, and kids are growing up to be compassionate and these beautiful human beings. I totally feel that if you love animals as a child, you'll grow to love humans too. So it's not like you just love animals and you hate humans. It's a circle. You become a totally compassionate being.
Beautiful. That's so beautiful, Neetu. Thank you so much. No wonder Nirvaan is Nirvaan, and it's so beautiful, my friend. I love you. So I think, we'll wrap up before too long, but maybe all 6 of you could say just a little bit about what would a vegan world look like in your mind? What would it feel like? What would it look like, a vegan world? A world with animal liberation, a hopeful message of how we might achieve that in our lifetimes. Who would like to go first? I'll give you a second to think about it, of course. Okay, Evan, you're always the first. You're awesome. Go ahead. Tell us. What do you think?
So in my opinion, I think it'd be amazing if people could just show empathy to these innocent animals and think about the conditions that they're currently in and work towards more of a sustainable world, more of a healthy world, and just more of a world where innocent beings aren't being mass murdered every single day. And I just feel like a vegan world would have so many more compassionate, empathetic people. People would be nicer at that point, I feel like, in general, because they'd understand more what these animals are going through, and they just have more niceness in their heart, I feel like.
It would be a nonviolent world. Shannon, do you want to add to that?
Sure. Yeah, I agree with everything I'm hearing. I think if kids could all respect cows and pigs and chickens and not even want to harm insects like Evan, and I'm sure Serentity and Nirvaan are the same, but want to help and protect, that we'd all be a lot nicer to each other, because bullying is like a huge issue nowadays. And I can't see any of these kind, compassionate kids who dedicate so much of their time to helping and saving these vulnerable, innocent animals would ever be mean to like kids because they're different in some way, or have something about them that makes them vulnerable. I think they would do the opposite and stand up against it, which I think is super cool. Also, like, this is their future, these kids, so it's really important that parents do support their kids and encourage them, and not be afraid to bring them out to actions, because when they know about these things, like I said earlier, when you speak up and do something about it, it takes some of that weight off your shoulders to know that you're a part of the solution. And I think we've had, we see a lot of people at Veg Fests and potlucks that don't make it out to actions. And I think it's because people are scared, or they think it's going to be dangerous. And, depending on the situation, not everything might be the right place to start out, but do some leafleting and some chalking and some sanctuary visits. Those are all really safe and easy to do. And meet other activists who are more experienced. Join AAM and get connected if you're not already, and learn to do things that you have skills and talents already that can be utilized. I want to add that I'm just so grateful to have an awesome family, and yeah, I appreciate all the activism that everyone does. I know there's something else I wanted to say a minute ago. I might think of it again, but great job, Serenity and Nirvaan and moms. And this has been awesome.
Thank you,
Michelle. Great job, Michelle. Evan he likes doing this. It gives the thumbs up.
Serenity, how about you? What would a vegan world look like, do you think, and how can we get there?
I have a good amount to say. I've actually pictured this in my head a lot. So I'm thinking about when you go to a store, right? You have to look at every little ingredient, every little fine print. Let's say the world was vegan. Say you see something you like, grab it, put it in your cart. But no, you can't do that. Because say there's something really good that you think is vegan, or in the front it says it's vegan, in the back it'll say it contains dairy. But literally when the world is vegan, you don't even have to think about that. And as a vegan person, if the world was vegan, I don't have to think about the animals being tortured. I don't have to think about how bad it is. Nobody would have to even worry about them being tortured, hurt, taken away from their family. It wouldn't even be a thing. Animals would be here to accompany us, to fertile the land, to have a family just like us. Animals are just like us because we're an animal ourselves. So when we pass a really good restaurant that smells really good, I'm like, no, it's gross. I'm like, but then I think to myself, what if everything was vegan? We could easily go there, get something we want, like McDonald's. None of it, almost all of it isn't vegan, right? There's probably like a few things. Even the fries aren't vegan. Even the fries. They have animal grease on them, which is disgusting. When I think about it, I could be that one kid that's like, hey, can I have McDonald's, Mom? But if it was vegan, I could be like, yeah, can we go there? Can we go there? I really want to go there. We can't. But what's great is in the UK, is it Burger King? In Burger King, they have an all vegan Burger King. Literally, you don't have to worry about anything. You just order, pay for whatever you want. You don't have to be like, oh no, can't get that. You have to get the Whopper. Sorry guys, can't get the cheeseburger. Nope. So I think it would be very nice. The world would be less polluted. I definitely think the waters would be less polluted. More fish to like, cause I noticed that in the springs there's a lot more fish than out in lakes that are just like out in the middle of nowhere, but still people go fishing there. But when I go to springs, like I said, you notice a lot of fish and a lot of wildlife. And definitely less polluted. What are they called? Those where we used to live, that building had a lot of smoke. What are they called?
Not sure.
But there was this one building that we passed that had like a lot of smoke. I think that wouldn't like hurt our air, hurt our oxygen, I would say. But that's all I have to say. Cause I have a lot more to say, but I don't want to take up too much of your time. So thank you.
I love what you said, Serenity. Trina, how about for you, your vision? Your thoughts?
Yeah, so I can give a prime example of something that makes especially mothers feel kind of alienated, like we feel like it almost makes us feel like there's something wrong with us, but we know that really it's something wrong with the school system and other people. So a prime example is my son, who's 5. He's going to be going to his first school trip, and they just announced that it's going to be at the zoo. So when I saw that, I was like, I'm soul crushed. You know, we have to have this conversation. You know, my son already knows, like, if he sees animals behind bars in captivity, it makes him upset. So we also did a vegan Thanksgiving. This was the first year I didn't cook, and that felt amazing. We got to be around tons of other vegans, so much yummy food. And you just feel, you know, like you all belong. You know, every time we do activism, not only are we going out there to fight for the animals, but we feel like, okay, this is kind of like our family. You know, we're with our people. Majority of all vegans, for the most part, all of us are compassionate. We have similar morals and beliefs. You just kind of get it from all angles. But with the zoo thing, you know, we really had to make a tough decision and tell our son, hey, you know, I know this is a trip. We don't want you to feel left out. I get it. You probably are sad that you can't go, but how sad do you think the animals are that are behind the bars? You know, and my son really thought about it, and he's like, I have to go. I have to go tell all my classmates. I have to yell at the people that work there. I have to tell them to let the animals free. And he was like really upset. He's like, I have to go. I have to go. So I said, well, I get your point. But I said, at the same time, even when we buy a ticket, we're supporting the zoo. So just like when we go to SeaWorld, he protests at SeaWorld with me. I said, you know, what do we tell people when they're driving by? Don't buy a ticket, turn around. Because when you buy a ticket, you're supporting it. So what we fund is going to continue. So I think the vegan world, just like the other said, you know, it would be all around just better for everyone, a more compassionate world, for the environmental aspect, for the health aspect, for everything, and especially the animals as forefront. Because it sucks. It sucks, especially being a mom, like Shannon mentioned with the bullying, that there might be times where, you know, your kids come home and they're telling you that, you know, so-and-so said that, well, I'm still going to go home and eat chicken, you know, and I don't care about your food that you have. So it kind of makes your kids feel left out. But at the same time, they get it. And they're like, you know what, I don't really feel left out. I kind of hope that they'll learn one day why it's so harmful and why it's gross to eat that. So I think we just all feel more accepted and understanding, and we wouldn't have to, especially with family too. That's one more thing I'll bring up, is I'm sure a lot of vegans can relate that our families don't fully accept it, and it might be tough when it comes to holidays. So we actually, you know, a couple years ago, like I said, we've been vegan 6 years. A couple years back, we decided to just do our own thing, and just have our own little vegan dinner. And my mom also went vegan shortly after I did, and completely cut everything out, and she'll come over and have dinner with us. And, you know, she enjoys that because she feels accepted. And then afterwards, she'll go over to the rest of the families just to see everyone, but she would prefer to eat dinner with us, so she doesn't feel left out. So I think that would be the biggest thing, is everybody just feeling a little more understanding of one another and the animals not being harmed.
Beautiful. I think we can all buy into that. Nirvaan, how about you? Do you want to say what your vision is for a vegan world and how hopeful you are about that?
My vision for a vegan world is with the whole world being vegan, there's gonna be more animals. So I hope to see more animals in the forest. Like if you walk into a forest right now, you're not gonna see a lot of bears, or you might see a couple of deer, but you're not gonna see a lot of animals. When the whole world goes vegan, I'd love without hunting. There's gonna be tons of deer and tons of bears in the forests, and the only reason that these animals are aggressive to us are because we're bothering them and going in their areas. So without hunting, they'll have the thing in their head that, oh, humans aren't gonna hurt us, and like we'll see all these forests full of animals, and the seas will be full of fish because people won't be fishing anymore, and there'll be and go and if the whole world's vegan, we could probably even reverse climate change. So yeah, if the whole world goes vegan, that's like a perfect world.
You two, do you want to add anything to what Nirvaan said?
Of course, I feel that lot of the violence that we see around us, even within humans, right? Wars, even things like racism and hate crime, every day, like Shannon mentioned about bullying, stuff like that also comes from what we choose to see and what we choose to ignore. A lot of the food that we eat comes from, not we luckily, but most of the world eats, comes from violence, right? So whatever you put in your body has some effect on the way you think. I feel when we learn to be compassionate towards every other living being, including insects and everything that lives, we will also see a peaceful world. I really am hopeful that before I die, I'll see a world that is very different from what it is right now. Um, if I have a bird's eye view of where the world was 25 years ago to where the world is right now, there's a huge change. I could have never imagined having an option for anything that is non-vegan in a vegan version. We over Thanksgiving we had beef Wellington, we had pork, and we had all of those things all vegan. I could have never imagined something like this would happen, and it's only going better and better and better. I just hope for a day that people can realize that they don't really need to kill animals to enjoy all of this food. It's still available, but I don't know why some of the people will give you an argument that it's not the real thing. And I don't understand. So what according to you is the real thing? When an animal dies and there's blood and
There's chemicals put into them.
right, there's all these things that are hormones and everything put in them. Is that the real thing? Or is something made from grains and parents and all of that? Is that the real thing? So I just wish for a day when people realize that you don't need to abuse or hurt any other living being so you can enjoy the foods, or they get over their addiction of food that harms animals and see food for what it is. It's a fuel that keeps you going, you know, it's a fuel that is required for your body to function. It is not a reason for you to be the reason for somebody else's suffering. It should not be. So that's the world. And I really hope before before the cat's biting me. What's up with you? So I really hope for the world that is peaceful, and I hope that happens.
Thank
I know
you.
it's working. Things are happening as we speak. A lot of options are coming out. A lot of commercially available. Like my supermarket has a whole aisle full of plant-based foods now. The refrigerated section is full of plant-based foods. So let's hope for a day when everything is plant-based.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for those hopeful messages.
Can I add? I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Shannon. Go ahead.
Okay, I remembered, I answered like part of the question. So the vegan world looks like, oh, I think,
Little brother.
okay.
No.
The vegan world is a world, which I hope is not too far in the future, where like Nirvaan said, there are wild animals, and like we have no factory farms, no CAFOs. Like it's crazy that right now we have confined animal feeding operations, a world where there's no buildings that are just there to murder and dismember the innocent and vulnerable beings we share the planet with, a world where you don't have to walk into the supermarket and see packages of bloody body parts and gallons of stolen breast milk from babyless mothers and cartons of other species ovulations. That would be amazing. And like has been said, when this all happens and there's nobody wanting to go out into the wild and kill a beautiful deer who has a family that they're that they want to go home to, and that people are more cautious while they're driving on the road to do their best to just not cause harm to others, I think it'll be a beautiful world where it won't matter what skin you've been born in, or whether you've been born with feathers or fur, or what you look like or sound like, or how you communicate. Just everybody does their best to help and protect everyone, and that they can be happy and have a planet.
Yeah, for Sage's sake.
Yeah.
Her future, her world. Thank you. Beautiful statement. So I think there was Alanya and Alanya's mom. Did you want to make say something quickly there? You can unmute. Eliana.
Hi, no problem. First of all, I just want to say thank you guys. This has been wonderful. And to be in a space like this, you know, we've only been vegan a year. And for me, it was a very sudden awakening, very hardcore depression for a couple months afterwards. But I got up and we got right into activism. And one of the things I did do, I own an in-home daycare. I changed it to vegan immediately. There was no questions asked. And I basically said, there's the door if you don't like it. And none of my families left. I still have all non-vegan families in care. But with that being said, I feel like I'm helping them or planting some seeds in these families, I hope. But I did just wanted to say, and I appreciate you allowing me to mention this, but I did end up starting a business called Compassion Rising. It is a compassion-based curriculum. And what we offer is a plethora of things: compassion-based diet guidance, renowned curriculum. And I have experts that have partnered with me. And it also gives us a platform as mothers, vegan mothers, or even just conscious people who aren't quite vegan yet, pre-vegans, that come into this space because they want to see a compassionate world. And then they realize, oh, that starts with how we treat animals too, and what we eat. And so I created this space with an amazing team, and we're launching in a couple of weeks, but I would love people of this caliber to join this revolution, is what I'm calling it, a compassion revolution. I'm writing a book right now called Compassion Revolution. And that's what I hope that this does, is cultivate that seed within children, because as it was said before, they're born vegan, they're born compassionate, it's conditioned out of them. And so this is a space to hopefully bring that out. And so I just put my email or my website in the chat, and I would love to have conscious, amazing, awakened humans join our movement. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for what you're doing. You don't sound like someone who's only been vegan for a year. There's so much packed in there. So thank you. Definitely have your information and we'll check that out, and we'll be in touch. And thank you for coming to this workshop and wanting to be involved with our community. So, with that, I'm going to start to wrap up, but don't go anywhere yet. Let me just end with a few announcements. Hold on. So we have more workshops to come. I don't have any future dates of those, but tonight's workshop is being recorded and will be uploaded onto our YouTube channel. So please, we're really urging people and asking you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we want to get more views, and it really helps us out. I also wanted to announce our 2 live events in 2023. The AAM Washington DC Week of Action is taking place March 14th through the 20th, 2023. And the Colorado Convergence is taking place in and around Denver. The dates are June 24th through July 1st, 2023. No experience required, but registration is required. So you'll find the events on our Facebook page and our website. So with that, we're wrapping up another AAM workshop. Thank you, Serenity and Trina and Neetu and Nirvaan and Shannon and Evan and Sage for being here, for all the wisdom that you share. Thank you to every activist here who tirelessly works for the animals. If you're interested in becoming a mentor or mentee or want to get involved, please reach out to AAM, any AAM mentor, or visit our website. Please consider becoming a patron by finding AAM on Patreon. We appreciate your support that way. And if you'd like to be on our email newsletter list, please drop your email in the chat, or you can message me privately and provide me with your email address as well. But until then, until next time, everyone, stay strong and live vegan, everyone.
Thank you so much for having us.
Wait, I can do the magical thing. Don't leave.
Say bye.
Wait, I want to show them.
Bye.
Oh, bye.
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 Help.
Yeah.
Say